I'm Abby, and you're tuned in to Climate Action Figures.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the latest edition of Climate Action Figures. My name is John Whidden, and this week on the show, you get to meet Abby. But before we meet her, and before we even get to our quick fix, a shout out to Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society, or CPAWS for short. The Southern Alberta chapter has supported this podcast and the lesson plan series that connected me with Cade and Abby. In case you've never heard of CPAWS, it's an awesome non-profit dedicated to protecting public land and water in Canada. Very cool. Speaking of non-profit or not-for-profit, do you know the difference? I do, because I just looked it up. Nonprofit is an organization that makes money to support their goals. So they run a bit like a business to make money to reinvest in their organization. But a not-for-profit is something that doesn't make money. And this podcast, you guessed it, is a not-for-profit. Actually, it's a for deficit because we have a few expenses to get this recorded and get it up on the interweb. So if you'd like to help out with those expenses by making a donation, too bad. It's 100% free for you, dear listener. The point is simply to share hopeful stories of youth taking small actions to mitigate climate change. Free, I say. And you know, many free things are not high quality. If you have any doubt about this, just visit your local dollar store. But you know what is high quality and free? The lesson plans that led to today's guest being here with us. I developed these with CPAW's cooperation to help teachers help students deal with climate anxiety. And they're great lesson plans geared for grade 5 and 6, but could be modified to a number of other levels. And I will include the link to those free lesson plans in the show notes today. Did I mention they're free? Enough already. Let's get to this week's Quick Fix. Today's Quick Fix comes to us from Colleen in Idaho, who left us a Facebook message to say, we need to follow the UK's lead. Everyone in the United Kingdom carries bags for groceries or just shopping in general, and a plastic bag will set you back 25 pence. Well, thanks, Colleen. And if you have a quick fix, please send it in to us via email or social media. All right, are you ready, Abby?
Yes.
Well, let's do this thing. Welcome to Climate Action Figures. What do you think about that quick fix that Colleen sent in to us?
I think it's a good idea to bring reusable bags for shopping.
I don't know about you, Abby, but sometimes we get to the store and we're like, where are the bags? Oh, no. So how do you actually remember to bring bags with you?
Well, my family usually puts our bags in the car so that when we go to the grocery store, we have them.
Ah, perfect. So always bags in the car. Good tip. All right. Abby, do you want to tell us about your climate action?
Well, I'm trying to make my community and my school more aware of climate change.
That sounds like a noble goal. How do you do that? Tell us more specifics about what you're doing to make that happen.
Well, I'm part of the leadership club, and we provide assemblies where we talk about climate change. And every once in a while, we'll have a little field trip to go and pick up trash or pick up trash in our schoolyard. Sometimes we'll have a little competition with another school to see who can pick up enough trash.
That sounds great. Well, congratulations on your climate action. Now, in the classroom program where we met, oh, hold on a second. We didn't rate the tie yet. If you were tuned in listener last week, you found out that when I go do school presentations, I always wear a tie, and the students always vote on the tie. So I'm just going to hold this up a little higher. So, Abby, can you see what's going on with the tie there?
Yes.
Do you see? What does it look like? Can you describe it to our listeners who aren't tuned in on YouTube?
Well, it's a black and white picture about a guy who
Mm-hmm.
is sitting and looks like in deep thought.
Exactly. In fact, it's a famous piece of artwork by Rodin called The Thinker. And I always choose my ties very carefully. And I chose this one today, Abby, because from the little I know you, I know that you are a thinker. So you now get to vote on the tie. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or so so. You have to tell us what you're voting so that those who are not watching can know how you voted.
I think it's a thumbs up. Pretty
Oh,
good tie.
very good. Thumbs up to the tie today. Okay, so back to the school project where we met. You actually completed a project to wrap up the time together there. Do you remember what that was, Abby?
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, me and my friend Samantha went around our school and interviewed some of the teachers or the principals or office workers or the janitor about climate change and what they think about it.
Ah, very interesting. Did you learn something that surprised you when you talked to those people?
Well, I learned that a lot of people at home are doing a lot of stuff about it, like using reusable bags and containers and water bottles. And we also have a green award at the school.
Ah, very good. Now, Abby, after the project was finished, you were featured on the national CBC program, What on Earth? You remember that interview?
Yes.
Well, I asked Cade last week, so I have to ask you too, to be fair. When you were featured on that program, did you hear from any relatives or friends from far and wide that had heard you speaking on the program?
Yes, I did.
All right. So you became famous instantly, right?
Mm.
So, Abby, I would like to wrap up today with you by asking you a question. And in the program we did at school, we learned a lot about climate change. You know, when I talked to you actually at the beginning of the program, I think you said you were pretty concerned about climate change. Did you mention something maybe about polar bears? Is that right?
Yeah, I did talk about like polar bears in the Arctic and how they're like, it's melting, I guess, and they're like losing their homes.
Right. I remember you saying that. That was before we talked at all. You shared that. And so obviously you're concerned about the environment, Abby, but what gives you hope?
Well, my hope is that in the future, there will be better generations with other new ideas that might be better than the last.
Wow. That gives me hope too. Abby, thank you so much for joining us today. And listener, thank you for joining us on this week's podcast. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place, when you will get to meet another climate action figure. Until then, go figures.
This has been Climate Action Figures. Our show is produced and hosted by John Whidden. Our creative consultant is Kayla McIntosh. Our theme song is Hawaii Vacation by Tovari. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Climate Action Figures. That's all one word. And if you have any other questions or comments that arose from this or any episode, feel free to reach out to us at climateactionfigures@gmail.com. And thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with another Climate Action Figure.